Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Plus Three Futures and Commodities Midweek Update Show. We are recording 5:30 Eastern on Tuesday, the 22nd of April. My name is Ben Maldonado. As always, I'm here with my partner, Barry Hederachi. Barry, how we doing?
Doing pretty good.
Following the bouncing ball this week?
We're trying.
Down big Monday, up big Tuesday.
Yep.
Now let's just tell everybody what to expect for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and the show will be over.
Yeah, well, that should be easy. It'll be down and then it'll be up and it'll be down again.
Yeah.
Well,
So here we
um,
go. Let's
yeah, let's
dive
do
in
that.
because
Yeah, let's
remember,
dive into this. And it's a midweek, but we're also going to cover Benn segment, all the charts. We had a lot of commodity charts that we didn't get to show last Friday, but
right?
we can try to catch up on those today also. So you guys wanting to see all the charts and Ben's comments to go with it, we're going to do that today.
Yep, we're going to breeze through it. So here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with the S&P. Here's front month daily, front month futures daily.
Yeah, and Friday we basically left off. I mentioned the 90-degree level, this 55.17. I said, look, it just looks like, we ran up into resistance and, then we ended up weaker. We reversed off that high and it was almost a slam dunk. And I said, it looks a little too easy because it looks like it's weak to everybody. And when
Hmm.
it's like that, you can usually get some kind of a false move to the other side. So, be careful, but it looks weak and I'm sure everybody can see it. So the Easter egg we kind of threw in the charts was to just follow the inside day we had on Thursday. And if we
Hmm.
broke to the upside of that, to go with that. And if we broke to the downside, to go with that. So Monday, clearly, I mean, we broke to the downside and going with that really paid off well. So and it was an easy trade. The whole day was just easy, no headaches. And sure enough, we came down to the 135 level, and that's pretty much the area of the daily found support.
Yeah,
And
beautiful.
yeah, very nicely, and then bounced up, and we found resistance pretty much right around the quarter square. And here it's 53.34. We went a little bit above it. So where does that leave us? I think the idea is still the same. Now, I would say below the quarter square, we're definitely in a weaker position, especially since we broke to the downside. So I think we have to monitor this 53.34 basis the daily. And I want to jump into the 30-minute chart just for a little bit. So the 30-minute chart, the reason I wanted to jump to this is just to well, it's easier to look at the numbers for the rest of the week. Monday's low, we came in very close to 51.15, which was major support. And then we kind of bounce around right around support resistance. The 52.16 was a key level. You had 50% of the square right under that. You can see we kind of got stuck there just for a little bit, ran up to 52.53, found support at 52.16. So that's where the levels get meaning. And then obviously we're making higher lows here. And then we took out 53, 52.53 this morning. And then, in the post I talked about, if we take this out, then we're going to go higher. Took out 52.88 and we're almost to 53.43. Now, the reason I went through all of that is just to say that 53.43 is really the key level for tomorrow. And depending on where we are on Thursday, I mean, if you guys follow us on X, we post every day whatever new numbers are and the pattern we're looking for. So for tomorrow, 53.43 is really important, and not getting stuck below this 52.88 is important. If we can somehow manage consolidate here and take another drive, we might be able to take out 53.43. Otherwise, if we slip under, 52.97, 88, then it's going to weaken. And, next time we get below 52.53, we're probably going to, go make new lows. But we have to watch for that. And so the upside is we have to really hold above this 52.88 level, sort of like how we held above 52.16. So this is what we mean. You took off, came back, held above it, right? All right. So that's it for the ES. I don't have a whole lot to add. Here's a cash weekly. Again, we're 52.48. This is for the SPX. Is sort of the big level for the to settle above or below for the cash. And you can see, the weeks prior, we were above it, below it, we're crisscrossing it. We really need to sort of settle to one side or the other to get things moving. And so far, it's only been a couple of days, so not a big deal, but we're below that. So we're going to watch that. And if we can't really settle above it and we start getting below 52.48, even if we, let's say we get up above a little bit, then we roll over, this number is the one to watch in the big picture. But I think the numbers I talked about on the ES, the front month, and the 30-minute should be enough to carry everybody over. A couple of other charts, I don't have time to go through them, but the dollar looks like hit the low that we were looking for. It's right at the square level. And euro did the same thing. It went a little bit beyond the ABCD that we had drawn in, but that looked like it was reversing. And also crude looks like it rallied back up right up to that 64.75 level that we normally look at. Anyway, we'll catch up on all of that on Friday. That's it for me. Let's get back to all the commodities, because we want to do a midweek just to make sure we catch all of these, because they're all at really important levels, especially the grains. And I think, let's go cover that. And also the NASDAQ, Bitcoin. Well, speaking of levels, 18,746, 18,750 is a big level for you.
Huge.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see we had the benefit of Friday or Thursday, we closed right on the level.
Right.
And now we've had the benefit, a lot like ES, right? We had inside bar, took out the low, so we went down right to the half square, found support, rallied up today, right back to the full square.
Right.
So you can see that this level here is key right now. And this 18,746, if we can push above, settle on top, then the rally can keep going. If we get stuck under, a lot like you were saying with the ES, it looks like these lows could be threatened fairly soon. The one thing somebody on X today was excited about, the fact that we were talking about April 22nd as a potential low here in the NQs based on 45 trading days from the high.
Right.
Looks like we hit 44. And as long as that low holds, that's a good cycle, right? From the high to the low, 44, 45 is right in the sweet spot. So that did come through nicely, and someone was able to trade off that, and good for them. Let's look at the weekly. Weekly, the key number here is this 18,186. You can see we're above it, but this week's bar has crisscrossed it, so it's nothing definitive there yet. A bigger thing would be to take out, we took out the low of this inside bar. Now, if we could take out the high, it could open up, the move to 21,000 on the counter trend. That's going to be a big ask, I think. I think that's going to be tough to get all the way up there, but we'll see. We'll know where the probabilities are based upon how it deals with this 18,186. And that's on your weekly basis. Let's quickly take a look at the monthly. Monthly, it's a very similar area we're dealing with here, the 18,226. Right now, we're just about right on that. So we've got about a week's worth of trading left before the monthly bar prints. Next month, we're going to see, do we not straddle this bar, this 135 level, but do we get a bar fully under it or a bar fully above it? Then that'll give us a clue as to where the next big move's going. And then the last one we wanted to look at was our calendar day. You can see this 1 by 1 has been really, really strong attractor. Huh, Barry? Look at that. Both up and down. Anyway, the low came right in on the 50% of the square. We bounced right up to the 1 by 1. Now we're going to see which one's going to win out, right? Are we going to push through and head up to this 19,176, or are we going to get stuck and just sort of grind down back towards the half square?
Maybe find support along that. The other lower 1 by 1.
Yeah, down here, exactly. Exactly, right in here. So we'll see. Anything else you want to add on the NQs?
No, we're good. I think for now, with the pattern that we're driving, watch those levels. That's the key.
And it absolutely is the key. It'll give you, probability shifting. Yeah, that's right. Let's jump over to Bitcoin. Well, we got the resolution we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Man, look at that. Right at the apex we took off.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that's when you draw the triangles right, you do get that. It doesn't happen often, but look at that. So we were talking last week about how we were, really tightening up and winding up into this apex of the triangle, and there's your break.
Mm-hmm.
The 85 280 was key. As soon as we got on top of it, got a bar fully on top of it there, look at what we did. And now we're pushing above the half square here.
Right. And this is where the resistance sort of starts, structural
You,
resistance up
you
above.
can see
Yeah,
all
right
that,
there. Mm-hmm.
all this overhead here from the distribution. So we'll see if we can get a bar fully above, 91,000, then we're going to check 96.6. So we know the level. The key level was 85 280. Now it's 91,000. So watch 91,000 on Bitcoin. Here's another look. That important 89 level that we checked, for
Mm-hmm.
multiple weeks here. We've pushed through. Again, this week we're going to straddle the bar. Even if we close up here, we got to see next week, can we print a bar completely above 89.5? If we do, then it opens up, the highs, the old highs.
Mm.
Let's take a look at the monthly with about a week to go. Well, we hit support.
Yep.
Now we're gonna go up and test resistance.
Yep.
That's what it looks like. So anyway, the bigger picture that we talked about being bullish is manifesting. So let's see
Mm-hmm.
if price can push through resistance now, because we've seen that support is held, and now we're going to be testing resistance on Bitcoin. Anything to add on Bitcoin here?
Just at the weekly, it could be sort of slipping into a expanding triangle.
Oh,
So
that
we'll
that
see.
that
It
would
could
be ugly like
it'll be
this.
ugly, and it could be like a one expanding triangle two, and then a three
Hmm.
down. I mean, I'm just saying it could happen. So just
Absolutely.
watching
Absolutely.
both sides of the street.
So
Just
the key thing we want to watch here is, do we get a lower high?
exactly. Yeah.
Yep. Do we get a lower high? Then we know the probability shift. All right, let's jump into these commodities that you didn't see but heard on the weekend show. Let's start with corn. Here's the corn daily.
Hmm.
And what we talked about here was, the main thing was, we went up, made a high, pulled back, false break, higher low, higher high, and now the push is coming.
Hmm.
This week we've made a higher high already. We had a big down bar today, but let's watch and see. Can we make a higher low again and push?
Yeah. I mean,
That's your
long as we're above
daily.
that trend
Take a
line,
look at
there's a
the
couple of
weekly
trend lines
basis. You
there.
can see we've already made a new high for the week. So let's watch and see, and make sure we don't do some sort of outside reversal, because that would mean the correction's got a little more to go.
Hmm.
But you can see the charts developing, right?
Yeah.
When you zoom out on the weekly and the monthly, you get a little better view, right? Since like August, September of last year, those higher highs. Now we just want to, here, weekly basis, 517 is key. We want to settle on top of that. And then it knows that, this all is behind us and we can really push.
Right.
Let's look at the monthly. Get you a view of the monthly.
And those lower trend lines are
Monthly,
holding
like to see
fine.
the close over 463, and then next month see the bar, full bar above that, right? Then it means we've
Hmm.
left this whole structure behind. And you can see look how important this level is, Barry.
Yeah. Looks good. And the trend line looks good.
That's about 7 years worth of price action right there.
Yeah.
That it
Yeah.
was
And the trend line looks good.
decent. Corn looks good. We haven't gotten a lot of clues yet this week, but let's see. Let's see what it's going to do. Even if we pull back here on the daily right to there, around 478, still be bullish. So sort of in between the half square and a full square right now, but overall looking bullish. Let's go check the other grain. Soybeans. Soybeans is doing what we wanted it to do, right? Over the weekend said,
Hmm.
look, we got to push up, and then we have the battle here at the full square. That it's 1035. So far this week, two full bars over, starting to set up. Now we just want to get the push and take out the highs of this ABCD, and we get off to the races in soybeans. So 1035 key level beans right now. Above it, we're in good shape. Below it, we got more work to do. So look at your weekly. And you can see the key weekly number here is 1060. This half square basically been holding price for, since last June, July.
Yeah.
If we can get up on top of that, sit on it and go, then 1283 is next. We'll be pushing up towards the full square. But again, you could say, oh, this is just sideways. Why are you interested? Look at this. This is weekly, right?
Hmm.
You got your low, you got a higher low, you got another higher
Higher
low,
low. Yep.
you got a high, you got a higher high. And if we can push and make a higher high here, this is, I think, escape velocity.
And break the trend line.
The momentum will kick in. So something's building here. And you got to be, and we break the downtrend line. Yep. Yep. Let's look at the monthly. Monthly's got a similar story with the downtrend line that would be broken if we take out these highs. Here, the number's 983. Again, we want to see a close over it, full bar above, and then we can push towards 1275. Anything to add on beans?
No, we're good. I'm glad we were able to cover all this. Great.
Yeah.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, they look good. They look like they're in a position to launch. Let's go to another one we talked about last week that's in an earlier position. So this is sugar, and it's really early, but I wanted to point it out to show kind of the things we look for, as we're making a low. Let's start first. High to low here. We did 90 by 144. 90 in price, 144 in time. Very good square. We also did an ABCD, perfect ABCD into the low. And we also did a little false break. Like we made a little lower low than the low right here in January. And now we've reversed. And you can see today we even made a lower low and then we closed near the high. So if we can push, take out today's high tomorrow, and then the last Thursday's high as well, this thing could really get going. Again, it's early, but the signs are there that this was that false break that you often see like this before a decent move higher. So that's the daily on sugar. Let's give you the weekly and monthly look as well. Here's your weekly. So far, we have an inside bar for the week, but notice that the low is a higher low, and it's also a full, will give us a full bar above as long as we don't take out that low. Well, the false break is on this one, Barry. It's just a little bit lower, but you can see how important this 1761 has been, going back the last few years. So ideally, what we'd like to see is a higher high this week. Take this, have a reversal bar. That'll give us, further evidence that we have a decent low there. Let's give you a look at the monthly. Monthly, again, this 1784 area is really important. And you can see if we can stay on top of this, we're on top of a lot of price action here. So that's sugar. Anything to add or anything that stands out to you here, Barry?
Well, the lows that you pointed out to look really good. I think those are solid. This is a great level to start watching sugar.
Nope. Let's move on to cotton, another one that we haven't talked about. So we mentioned cotton because kind of a three drive pattern here. There's one low, second low, third low. Looks like a false break low, right? Came down to the full square, took out the previous lows and reversed hard right away. And
Yep.
now we're starting to move up. So we have a low, we got a high, got a pullback. And now if we take out those highs, we'll have a higher high. So again, a lot like sugar, it's early. 61.59 is the full square that we found support on. The next thing we want to see is we want to see this 68.80, call it, taken out. Get that high taken out, and then we could really start moving. And you'll see why when we look at the weekly. Let's look at the weekly. I mean, look at how long this thing has just been grinding around this half square since August of 24, last August. And this pattern, of coming down, taking out a low and then going is prevalent. And we've pointed it out in many commodities. Look at this one here, right?
Yeah,
Had a
absolutely.
low here, went up, came back down, false break, go. So we're watching here, staying above this half square, which is 66.41 is key. Sit on top of that, then we could get going. Let's look at the monthly. And you can see the monthly, we're working on an outside reversal bar. Still got about a week to go, but if we print the outside reversal bar, it's another piece of strong evidence that this low is good and the trend is potentially changing. The last one here will be a review of the short in coffee that we were talking about. We identified when it started making a lower high here and we squared out. We had a very good square here a couple weeks ago, and we mentioned that hey, this is a good square out. We had a really strong pullback, a lower high, and then we got this move down into the exact support level. We said, hey, if we get down in here, you got to look at taking some profits on your shorts and then see what sets up. Well, we bounced hard off this 333 level, came right up to the half square and reversed hard. Today, interestingly enough, we did an inside bar and went right back up near the highs. As long as we're below 378 on a daily basis, you can play this thing short because you have a really, really good risk reward and tight stop loss here. So the fact that we stopped there and we're making a lower high, again, points to the fact that it looks like we're going to see more weakness in coffee. Let's take a look at the weekly. There's your weekly. Not surprisingly, so far, first 2 days we have an inside bar, but the key level on the weekly we want to see it get stuck below 358 for shorts. If we get above 384, it looks like something else is going on, and we're going to go back up and test the highs. So weekly basis, you've got your two numbers to watch there. But you can see this initial move down found support in this cluster where we spent 5, 6 weeks going back and forth, creating a little ledge here. So if that gets taken out, then it's down to, in the 280, 250 range, things will go. Let's take a look at the monthly, give you the monthly perspective. On a monthly, obviously, we got the down bar now, and we want to see where we close in the next 7 days. If we get a close below 343, that would be really, really negative. And obviously, if we get the next full bar below there, it opens up 280. Chances are we're probably going to crisscross this 343 for a little bit, but we'll see. Anything to add here on coffee, Barry, the coffee short?
Well, the coffee, I think the high looks good, and the it just seems like it's not quite finished, but the 384 level is the one to watch, seems like.
Yeah. Yep. And on a daily basis, it's the 378. And again, it just shows the power of the squares. Look where we stopped,
Mm-hmm.
multiple times. We stopped
Yeah.
up here at the high around 423. We caught the low with a little over, as markets do, it pushes a little more,
Yep.
but they couldn't close below there. And now, we couldn't close above 378.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we use the squares.
Yep.
So that's it. That's the video to go with the audio that you had last week. I don't think I have anything else to add because there hasn't been anything momentous other than gold. Gold looks like we may have made a short-term top today,
Mm-hmm.
where we hit 3,500 and closed back down around 3,420. Everything else just seems like we're creeping along. Like the sugar made a little progress the last couple days. The cotton was a little stronger today. You know, uh, Bitcoin that we had talked about before was a little stronger
Broke
today.
out.
So
Yep. Mm-hmm.
let's see. Watch the levels, and I guess we'll talk on Friday. Anything else to add, Barry?
No, I think we covered everything, that's important. And Great job, Ben, and we'll see you guys on Friday. Have a great
We'll
week.
see you on Friday. Yep.
Bye bye.
Take care.